What if you could take that risk, make that change, reach that goal, live your best life? Welcome to another episode of the What If You Could podcast, where we get together with amazing experts and everyday people who share challenges, encourage healing, and explore the possibilities that life has to offer. I'm your host, Gary Scott, and I'm excited that you're along for the ride. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the What If You Could podcast. And today, my effervescent guest with me is T. Kari Mitchell. Hello, T. Kari Mitchell.
Well, hello there. How are you,
Oh,
Gary?
I'm sensational. We're going to have a lot of fun. I know that we're going to enlighten all of golden, our golden women, and we're just going to have a blast. But I'm
Yes.
going to read a quick bio that I have for you,
All right.
and then we'll get cooking. Is that okay?
That's wonderful.
Cool, biz. All right, guys. We have T. Kari Mitchell, but those of us who love her call her TK. Uh, TK is, she prefers a woman over 60 for their amazing second act. Women who have heard TK speak in person or watched her YouTube videos find her material motivating and inspirational. Overcoming her own health challenges through nutrition and lifestyle intervention inspired TK to become an integrative wellness coach. As her friends and her were moving into their retirement, she said to herself, "This is not enough for us. Retiring like our colleagues and parents did in the past is not going to work for this girl." She knew that she had to do more important work to do, and this inspired her to start an empowerment movement that defies age and limitation, helping women unlock the secrets to reclaiming their health, confidence, purpose, and power so they can rock their golden years. She feels a sense of duty and responsibility to help raise the standard for aging so the global perspective is positive and not negative. I believe boomer women are favorably positioned to make the second half their best years, and TK's mission is to facilitate that process. And we're going to cover all the ways she's doing it and all the good stuff. So, welcome again, my friend.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah. Now, I'm in my golden years, so I'm going to learn too, if that's okay.
That's wonderful.
I don't want to steal anything from the gals. I'm just going to get
Right.
a
Yeah.
couple secrets, and no one's watching.
This includes
Uh,
the guys too. Yeah. It
God,
includes
we
the
guys
guys.
need help too, man.
That's
We're
right.
we're
They
in
sure
trouble.
do.
But because this is the What If You Could podcast, I always just have my one opening question, and basically, TK, have you ever had a What If You Could moment? Do you have a What If You Could thought you wanted to share with the gang?
Yes. Yes. I really, really like the title of your podcast, Gary. And as I'm thinking about that too, I think a lot of the last half of my life has been about the what ifs. And for our listeners, I like to even pose that question. It's like, what if you could step out of your comfort zone in your second half and take some risks, and look at the challenges that have been presented to you as events that were there or placed on your path in order for you to make some strategic changes, because there's a whole lot of life left in you and you deserve to live it to the fullest. So, for me in particular, three simultaneous life changing events led me to my rewarding act of launching my business Lifestyle 120. First, caring for my mother, whose health was deteriorating. And if that wasn't enough, it was overcoming my own health challenges through naturopathic remedies. And that wasn't enough. All this happened at the same time. Wondering, okay, I'm getting ready to retire from my 32-year public school teaching career. Um, I wonder, what am I supposed to do next? And so I began thinking, is it possible for a middle aged woman to become more prosperous in every area of her life? And if so, what would be the secrets to her success? I knew that I didn't want to retire the same way my colleagues and relatives have retired in the past. I was certain that there was more important work to do, but not the same kind of work, but in a different way. And so I stepped out of my comfort zone and went back to school to get health certified, blend my love for teaching and wellness, and then started my holistic health coaching and motivational speaking business at the age of 62. Now, because I wanted to inspire mature and seasoned women to step into their power and achieve what was most important to them. So I used my own experiences and success to create Sprout Your New Life, which we could talk about later. I used my success to create this program, this comprehensive empowerment program, specifically designed to prepare courageous women for their beautiful second half. So, as you had stated earlier, yes, my mission is to change the way people view aging, change the way people view aging so the global perspective is positive, not negative. And how I do that is show women how to release the limited mindset. You know what they are. Like, I'm too old to pursue my passions. My best years have passed. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. Those statements. And then make these positive mental shifts to reclaim their health and their confidence and their purpose and all that power they have inside so they can be amazing in their golden years. So that's kind of a little capsule about what happened to me uh, during that critical time in my life. All those things happening at once seemed insurmountable, but they were there for a purpose.
I love that. I love, you did go back and you got a lot of different certificates and you went and you got a lot of different education to kind of start your second half. And we'll
Mhm.
touch on that along with the Sprout Your New Life.
Yes.
But it, it's just made me think, 32 years as a public school teacher, you're not really entrepreneurial, right?
Right.
I mean, you've got set curriculum and you do this, you do that, blah, blah, blah. So,
Yes.
how did that shift happen for you to become, this 32 years of always in that set way? And now you're like, oh, holy cow, I'm going to
Mhm.
build this business. I'm going to start this training. I'm going to do all that. I mean, that's a pretty big shift, TK, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a pretty big shift, and you are right. I always say that I didn't get that business experience. Like I say, you're in the classroom or you're presenting to staff, you're preparing lesson plans for students, and you're doing all that within the confines of the district and their mandates. Um, but when I look back over the years, and I started this in 2015. It was late 2014, 2015. So it's been almost 10 years. And I think if I looked at this now and said, this is what I'm going to do, it would be too overwhelming. But it didn't happen like that. It was like one step at a time. I knew that I wanted to do something powerful in the world. I didn't know it was going to be entrepreneurial. I just knew what I wanted to do because I had already changed my health issues and people were asking about that. And so I started, sharing my success with others and being invited to speak on shows and helping colleagues and also people who are reaching out to me. That's how it all started. And then writing the book that we can discuss later, Sip the Garden, Fun, Easy Drinks for a Healthier Family. It was just like one step at a time. So I'd encourage whoever's making a change to just take it one step at a time, one foot in front of the other. I had no idea what this would look like. And still don't know because I'm still growing and still learning. And there's so much still left to do. I just get excited every day about what I can do to contribute.
That
To
that
others.
had to be scary though. You sit down, you say, all of us in this, we're not going to do this. I'm not ready to go sit on the porch to my rocking chair and start knitting.
Yeah.
I want to do something. I've got so much life in me. I've got so much. I mean, you're so naturally engaging. I just couldn't imagine you just sitting there not doing anything, right? But I mean, it still had to be scary. I mean, it still had to
Oh,
be,
very.
holy cow, what?
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't even know where I'm going, what to do.
You know what's scary is now looking back. That's what's scary. It wasn't it was pretty mind-boggling going through it. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? But because I started slowly and because I didn't really know where I was going to wind up, I didn't really think too much about the fear aspect. I was sort of put off by a lot of things that were happening. Like, no, I probably can't do this. This is just too much, and I don't have enough time. You know, those same mental tricks that go on in your brain, all that chatter.
Yeah.
Um, but because I took it slowly, it was much more manageable. But yeah, it was scary because I was embarking on this entrepreneurial journey and didn't have that business background like an MBA, didn't go to school for that. So I had to train myself and also reach out and take courses and classes and um, get professional folks who were doing well in the business to help me. And I was very fortunate because I had my mind set on what it was I thought I wanted to do, but I was open to much more. But at least I had that limited view. And the view is always limited until you get going, and then more and more opportunities come up, and you'll decide that, oh, this is possible as well. But yeah, I remember, and I have to make a shout out to this one lady. Her name is Elizabeth, and I wasn't on any social media at the time. And I knew that after getting my health coaching certificate that I would need to be out there on social media. And I fought that. I really fought it. I was like, if people want to get in touch with me, they can just call me. And so I said, yeah, I know I probably need to get a Facebook account. And that kept going on week after week until I noticed that there was a class being offered at the public library in my community on starting your own Facebook page. And I thought that's exactly what I need. So I was like, you know, these little fun types of messages are being planted on your path if you're paying attention. So I got into that class, and this one woman came and sat down next to me. I thought, oh, goody, I've got somebody to help me. But she was a website builder. And yes, she was there to help everyone, but she just sort of sat right there. And it was perfect. Beautiful, it was a beautiful relationship, and she helped me greatly. And she's the one that really got me started. And things took off from there. But that's how it happens, is that divine connections, divine timing, um, and
It is divine in a lot of ways,
it is.
but you have to put it out there, right? I
Yes.
mean, the universe, one of my favorite sayings that I've always had up is the
Mhm.
universe rewards action. I don't
Yes.
know, probably Tony Robbins. I don't know who said it. I didn't make it up.
Yeah.
But the universe rewards action,
Mhm.
and you started putting things into play
Mhm.
blindly. You go,
Yes.
well, screw it. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know I want to go in this direction. And the
Yes.
universe started putting things in your path to help
Yes.
you along the way.
Exactly.
What grade did you teach when you were a teacher?
Well, you know, I had a variety of educational experiences, felt really blessed for that. But I taught grades elementary, junior high, middle school, and high school. And
So what's
ex-
the difference between standing up in front of all those kids
yeah.
and standing up in front of a room of seniors that you're inspiring to move on with their life?
Well, see, that's just it. I just feel that that's my forte is teaching because I love it. It's not like a job. It's something that was just in my nature from the beginning. I remember my mom telling me when I was 6 years old, you know, that I was had the neighborhood kids come around and we'd sit at the small table and okay, this is what we're going to learn today. But yeah, there's not much difference in that because I'm interested in teaching, but it's a different it's a different focus. Um, so the difference is that the kids that you're teaching, the young adults or the children in grade school, they're there and you already know you're going to be teaching them and they already know you're their teacher. and they're going to be following your lessons and, hopefully satisfied with the grade they earn, but they have to be there. What's different now is that the reason why I call myself the inspired aging motivational speaker is because the women that are in our age group, and the men too for that matter, they don't have to. What they will need to do in order to get involved in their future is going to have to want to do this without anybody telling them they have to do it. Whereas the students, they have to go to school. So there's a lot of difference as far as like motivation and tactics and all, even though I felt that I was motivating my students to want to learn.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
little different twist because you're working with adults rather than the children.
Yeah.
So
So
it's different.
what came first for you as far as this vision and this realization that I'm not ready. I've got
Yeah.
too much life in me. TK's just getting started.
Yeah.
Was it the health issues where you go, I've got to learn
Yeah.
to cure myself. I need to learn how to fix myself because the medical profession is a little cuckoo.
Mhm.
Was it that started, or did you have that dream before the health issues kind of got you
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, Gary, because what happened, it was 2 years before I retired. And I had this vision of wanting to start my own business, but I didn't know what the business was going to look like. I just knew I wanted to start my own business. I had no idea what it was going to be, though. And I got frustrated periodically because I knew I was getting ready to retire. And then when I retired, I didn't have a plan. I really wasn't sure, I just knew what I was going to do. Um, so it didn't occur to me that what I had already been through recently was supposed to be sort of like the impetus for all this. We don't think about what we're already doing, what we're already going through, or what we're even good at. We never think about it. It's just like a given. And so I had to go back and I love nature, and I always drift out into nature and get my natural supplements there. Yeah, it didn't occur to me until after retirement. And usually some people have their act together before retirement. Then it occurred to me that, wait a minute, people are asking me, like, what did you look so good? What did you do? And you had this issue, you had that issue. How did you fix that? And I would tell them. And so that happened a couple of years before I retired, but I didn't think about it as like a business until later.
Mhm.
When it seemed like there was a need in the community. Yeah, I had no idea. But I took a lot of classes that were not closely related to health coaching, a lot of writing classes because I love to write. And in the writing class the specific one I'm thinking about, I met some people there that I'm still connected to, and we're still supporting each other. So that was on the path too. All of these little things, it's still fun looking back on it. But while you're going through it, you have no idea, like, what's that about?
And I think that's kind of like what we started when then I cut you off about the what age you taught and stuff. I think
Yeah.
that's what we started about. A lot of times, with people, especially
Mhm.
people who are tired. Like my first wife passed from cancer. I recently remarried, and I
Oh.
remarried a gal, and then she retired after 28 years working for the county.
Mhm.
And she had no clue. She's just lost. She's just floundering.
Mhm.
Like, what do I do now? You work for the county. You're really regimented, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you have no entrepreneurial. So we're working on some different stuff, but you know, it is amazing how the universe, God, spirit, whatever, starts dropping people or dropping things in your path
Yes.
when you decide, right? You
Mhm.
go, I want to start doing this
Mhm.
and I feel this. And
Yes.
then so you're doing some holistic stuff. You're also doing sprout your new life.
Yes.
So how did that come about? How did sprout your new life come about?
Well, Sprout Your New Life came about because I wanted to have some type of programming for women so that they could follow some steps that would lead to their success. And as I was thinking about my success and how I was able to navigate some of these challenges, I knew that it was not easy for me. So I knew also, I figured that it wasn't going to be easy for others. And we all know that lifestyle is critical. And I can talk to you later about the 7 lifestyle elements. But what I have found is that people who want to change certain aspects of their life, they just say, for instance, they want to eat better or they want to exercise. Okay, that's wonderful. But those are just 2 of the 7. And what causes a person at the beginning of the year, like now, they're making their New Year's resolutions, and by first part of February, or maybe even the second week in January, is like gone out the window. Why is that? And it's because there's no spiritual foundation to support your dreams. And so this program that I had that's called Sprout Your New Life. It's my online spiritually based empowerment program for mature and discerning women who are ready to release those negative belief patterns and make the second half the best years of their lives. Now, the curriculum is based on a system of fundamental universal truths that can be applied to everyday living in order to promote growth, transformation, and success. And then covering all aspects of a woman's life, including lifestyle, relationships, purpose, and more. The program is designed to uncover the roadblocks that may be keeping a woman from moving forward. So it includes 24 inspiring videotape modules and workbook exercises that help participants reclaim their health, their confidence, and their power so they can live the life of their dreams. But it's that spiritual component that's the key. And that spiritual component, um, I don't know if our listeners need a definition of that, but I think everybody understands what spirituality is, and we're not talking about religion. So when I mention spirituality, to me, spirituality transcends religion. It really doesn't matter what religion you are, what term you choose to describe supreme power. Well, spirituality is your inner peace and knowing. It's your truth. And I'm talking about a guiding force, acknowledging and having access to and trusting the higher power that connects you to your higher self and to the world. So I believe that spirituality is life affirming wisdom. And it's
I want
very
to touch. I
personal.
want to touch on the spirituality part of it. I
Hmm.
think because
Yes.
there's such a lack of it in our world right now. It seems
Hmm.
like people are turning away from, like you said, it's not just about religion, but I mean, it's just about the spirit, spirituality. I mean, people are turning away from it. There's a weird kind of bitterness or anger about spirituality right now that I just don't even understand.
Hmm.
When you're working with these women, I know that, because my wife and friends have been in AA for a long, long time. And that's one of the things that is such a foundation for AA, right? It's not about God, it's not about original, but it's about finding a higher power. About
Yes.
saying, I've got to give this up to a
Hmm.
higher power. I can't do this on my own anymore. I'm
Yes.
not going to kick this habit, right? And
Right.
I think when you bring that to women, I just think that's such a powerful thing that
Hmm.
you're doing because that's one of the first foundations. Is like, let's get your spirituality. Let's understand like what we were talking about, right? The universe is going to drop these things in front of you if you get your ducks in order, if you get your
Yeah.
beliefs in order. So I love that you bring spirituality into that. That's so
Yes.
crucial.
Yeah. Yeah. I just wanted to explain fully how this works. See, everybody, like I said before, everybody knows what how important diet, what you're eating, and fitness, regular a routine for your fitness, your regular fitness routine. They already know that, but there are also some other elements like proper sleep and the importance of a comfortable, inspiring living space, free of toxicity and clutter. And healthy relationships is important, keeping in touch with people that you care about and building new relationships is critical.
So that's the thing.
Yeah.
TK is relationships, building
Hmm.
relationships, like you're saying, is so important, especially, when I lost my first wife.
Hmm.
And then here I am, in my 50s, and I'm like, holy cow. And then, as I was moving into my 60s, I'm like, am I ever going to meet someone? And I know for most of my gals in their 60s, most of them stop trying.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah. I know. I,
So how do you help them get into the seven lifestyle elements
yeah.
and realizing that relationships are out there, or maybe even just starting that second half?
Well, yeah, we talked about the the importance of healthy and meaningful relationships and keeping in touch with those you care about, but also I think it's important to start building new relationships and new experiences. And of course, having that special soulmate is wonderful, and everybody would like to have that going on in their lives. But I think the important thing to do right now is to focus on your growth, your relationship with yourself, and also to get involved and get active and doing things that you enjoy, because hopefully you will meet the same kinds of people. If you're traveling, even traveling to destinations that you really enjoy, the people that you're traveling with have those same interests, and there may be, you never know, your soul may be right there. If not, you'll be meeting these wonderful people that will be your new friends and new experiences, building you up, and you can build them up. So that's important.
I think that's why women outlive men, right? Because
Mhm,
women will find other women friends, and they'll
mhm.
have a gang of women. They'll travel together to do stuff
Yeah.
together, and we guys just don't do that.
Hmm.
We don't seem to have a whole gaggle of friends like the gals do. And
Yeah.
I think that's so crucial, that relationship of having that bonding. Like you said, it doesn't have to be the soulmate, doesn't have to be the dude, but
Right. Right.
having those new relationships. But also, like you said, when that lady sat down with you and was going to help you when you went to that Facebook class and stuff,
Yes.
that, those are life-changing events that we don't even know
Yes.
are going to hit us, right?
Exactly. We don't know. So we don't know what's ahead. We know what we want, but we may be introduced to something that will show us that, oh, we may want this more than that. And so we really have to, keep ourselves out there. But anyway, I was saying that relationships, um, that's critical. And then community service is important. But my favorite, the seventh lifestyle element, is pursuing your interest and dreams. That's what keeps us relevant and
Wait, wait,
passionate.
wait. Say that one again. What was that one?
The seventh lifestyle element that I promote is pursuing our interests and dreams.
Mm.
That's what keeps us relevant and passionate about life. And but what I had hinted on earlier is that all these elements are intimately connected, and they're not surprising to most people. But there is a secret ingredient that helps to harmonize these everyday living experiences. Uh, I know that if a woman has her heart set on, for example, the what the New Year's resolution is, I'm going to lose weight because in April my daughter's getting married and I want to fit into that gorgeous dress that I just bought. Well, she may lose the weight, but it may come back. She may gain it all back because there wasn't that spiritual foundation to sustain her. We have to have a critical spiritual foundation that sustains every goal that we make. And so I'll say that none of the lifestyle elements that I mentioned are sustainable without that spiritual component. So I believe that in order to experience whole health and to fulfill the desires of the heart, a lifeline must be circulating through everyday experiences. And this lifeline is an internal system of fundamental universal truths and is the essence of my messaging. So everybody's probably wondering right now, like, okay, well, what is it? What is this lifeline?
I
Tell
was
us,
wondering right now.
tell us,
I
tell
was
us.
just I was just
Yeah,
wondering that, TK, so you
okay,
better let it out.
right. So underneath it all, um, okay, here's what it is in a nutshell. The universal principles, the universal truths, the internal fundamental system is it's love and compassion. It's your thoughts and words, accepting responsibility for honoring your commitment to the choices you make in life, is trusting and believing, and it's having courage and passion, getting excited over and over and over again about the rest of your life. It's about expectations and planning and being open to becoming vibrant during this next stage of your life. So, back to this, like I just used the weight issue because a lot of people want to eat healthier at the beginning of the year and then that trails off. That why do you want to lose the weight? See, the daughter's wedding has really nothing to do with it. It's about you. It's the love for yourself, your health, your wellness, your responsibility to yourself with this wonderful, magnificent, amazing body you have, honoring that as part of your commitment. And, establishing a program that will help to get you there, but trusting and believing that you will, based on the fact that you want to do this because you want to live the rest of your life healthily so you can pursue your dreams and your passions and be a dynamic force in the world. That's really an example of how the spiritual component works underneath that health and wellness, eating right, exercising. You have to have that belief and that understanding and be honest with yourself why. But so we have to ask ourselves, why do you want this? What are you going to do about it? Yeah. So that's why I say I show women how to access this internal support system, apply it to their daily living, and then fertilize their consciousness with the substance that will allow them to grow and flow. So that whole body, mind, spirit connection has become the main ingredient in my formula for wellness and critical component to living a strong, long, satisfying life.
You touched on so many great things there. Men
Mhm.
work until they're 65, retire, and die at 67.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
right? And so it's about finding that spark, finding that courage, finding that desire, finding that passion, all the stuff that you
Mhm.
spoke about. So how do you take these gals? Maybe it's part of your Sprout New Life program, or whatever, but how do you take these gals and they go, TK, I'm lost. I was in this forever. I was either a mother and housewife forever. Now my husband died, or he's just boring.
Yeah.
I was an educator forever. I would work for the county forever. Now I don't have a purpose. I have no freaking clue
Yeah.
where I'm going, but I know I want to do something. I mean, how do you help these gals kind of find that spark again and find some vision?
Hmm. Well, they said the program helps to get them there. And like I said, there are 24 modules. And so it does take some time and energy and effort and commitment. Um, but everyone is placed on this earth with a purpose. Perhaps they already know what it is, but there hasn't been someone or a group of people or a program to help pull it out. And what I explained to you earlier about what happened with me is that I didn't know that what I was already doing was going to be or would lead to my passion for the second half. And so I know that these women have inside them something that they have always wanted or that they are superb at, that they have just taken for granted. And help them discover what that is. Um, One of the things too is allowing yourself the time to be able to do this. A lot of people don't want to dedicate the time for that. They'll dedicate their time to watching the reruns of General Hospital or One Life to Live, or the soap operas, or favorite. But what their life purpose is, yes. So dedicate the time for that, and it takes some meditation. It takes affirmations. It takes a commitment, and I think we'll be really surprised as to what comes out when you do take your time to meditate on this, to reflect on it, to have that be a priority. Yeah.
I think that relationship that you talked about too, putting yourself out there, making new
Mhm.
relationships, because you don't know what that new person is going to spark in you. Like you said, like
Exactly.
you've met people, it's like, oh man, I want to try that. Oh man,
Hmm.
I want to do this.
Yeah.
And you see, I think a lot of us, when we get older, we kind of say, well, God, we're at the end here.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot, no use starting something new, and I don't know what I want to do, and I don't really know things. I've been a housewife for 40 years or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then as they put themselves out there, all of a sudden that little kernel, like the 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 Grinch, his little heart starts when he
Yeah.
hears the singing, that little seed inside of us starts
Mhm.
growing.
That's
And when
right.
then they get hooked up with TK, and TK says, look, let's get in my Sprout Your New Life program. And I'm going to
Yeah.
walk you through these 7 lifestyle elements.
Yes.
And together we can start manifesting, we can start having belief in ourselves. A lot of people had really crappy relationships too, where
Yeah.
it's just they don't have that belief in themselves because they were always told they weren't, right?
Mhm. Right. So we have to change the thinking. Um, Basically, it's a matter of changing your thoughts, becoming aware of your thoughts first, and changing your thoughts. And like you said earlier, not just changing your thoughts and then changing your words, but then moving your feet. You've got to do that. Just can't sit on your rump and decide, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and that's what I'm going to do, and that's all there is to it. No, you've got to move. You've got to start somewhere. And I just want to give another example because being in the education system, and I've done a lot of wonderful things there, and it was even in administration actually for 5 years in consulting in education. Um, I thought when I retired that I was supposed to do the same thing because that's all I knew. So you're talking about the housewife, that's all I know. But what she doesn't understand is, well, just a housewife. What are all these things that you did over there? I mean, that's huge. There's so much that is entailed in all of that. So much. And
I
there
mean,
were
the
like,
best multitasker on the planet is a housewife. I
oh
mean,
my
I
God.
just I just laugh at the fact
Yeah,
that,
that's right.
right? I meet these gals and go, I don't know, I'm just a housewife. So I go, okay, so this is the deal. You get everyone ready, you get everything going, you do the grocery shopping, you plan the meals, you pay the bills, you take care of the kids, you take care of your husband. I mean, dude, you do more than most CEOs of a corporation. You're more qualified than most CEOs, right? It's like, come on.
Yeah, they do
You're
it with their
overqualified.
eyes shut. They do it with their eyes shut, right? I mean, it's so easy. And because it's a gift, it's a skill, you just take it for granted. So what I was going to say is that I thought for sure that I was supposed to do some of the same. So I pursued, I was getting ready to pursue my doctorate in education so that I could um, work in a program that would help student teachers prepare student teachers for their role in the schools. Oh, it's so much like what I was doing already. And I met up with this woman who was in charge, who was the head of the department, um, to bring new folks in. And I had a lovely conversation with her. She was so excited about it. I was excited. Oh, this is wonderful. Yes, we need people like you. And I was supposed to meet up with her this one day at this particular time. And, she didn't show. And she was so excited about it. And then when I reached out to her, well, I'm here waiting for a conference. I wait a few more minutes. It had been a half hour. Um, I didn't hear from her then. But when I got home, I decided, well, I guess I'll go on back home. I've got things to do. She answered the phone when I finally got in touch with her and said, "Well, I was at a meeting and I missed your appointment." That's it. She didn't say, "I'm sorry for missing it. Can we reschedule?" Um, yes, it was on my calendar, and this meeting took longer than the things that you would expect people to say. That was it. And I thought, whoa, okay. And but you know what? That was something for me to pay attention to. It wasn't like a slap in the face. It was like, wait a minute, TK. What was somebody trying to show me something there? Tell me, yes, what it was is that you're not supposed to be doing the same thing you were supposed to be that you were doing earlier. You're supposed to be on a new path doing something new. So she really helped me because I know once we had that conversation, I was going to sign up, you know. And but it's interesting. So those kinds of experiences are not really there to harm us or hurt us. They're just there to show us that that's not quite right for you. But we have to be open to that. So that was just one example I just wanted to share with you about what can happen on your path.
Well, that that makes me think of something too. I mean, what do you think, or what do you run into in your work that seems to be the biggest hurdle for a
Mm,
lot of gals 62, 65, 70,
mhm,
that want to try something? I mean, what do you
mhm.
see the hurdles of getting these gals inspired that they can do it, giving them the confidence that they can do it?
The main hurdle is fear.
Mhm.
Fear. It's just huge. Fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of not being good enough, fear of the time element. It's just fear. And we have to get over that. And then also, it's not just them. Is they have been conditioned by society to think that, oh, you're 65. You're not supposed to be doing anything else right now. And that's the big issue. That's what I said earlier that I'm on a mission to change the worldview on aging so it's positive, not negative, because we're vibrant, we're here now, we're still here, I should say, for a reason, and that reason is to shine our light. And so those are the things, the fear and what society is dictating. They've listened. Maybe it's unconscious. They probably don't realize that that has really impacted their um, their vision or the way they're thinking.
But remember, TK, people are crabs in a bucket. You know
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
You get two
right.
crabs in a bucket, one tries to climb out, the other one pulls it right back down.
I know
And
it.
you've got a husband going, wait a minute, I just want to lay around all day or maybe play golf with my buddies on Sunday or whatever.
Oh, mm-hmm,
And you can't go doing all this stuff. Who's going to make my sandwich? Or the
mm-hmm,
kids
yeah,
going, Mom, you're too old to be doing this stuff. I
I
need you to watch the baby so we can go on vacation.
yes, exactly.
Right? So you've got family or even friends who
Mm,
don't want to see you move on because they're afraid they're locked in their
yeah,
life, right? And if you go and move on, that makes them feel bad. Instead of
exactly.
supporting you to move on, go, hey, you can do this.
Yes.
You can do this. Get a second life. And let's face it, we're all healthy. We're all living
Mm-hmm,
longer. We're all better.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
When I started dating a couple years ago, and most of the gals I dated were in their 60s, late 50s, early 60s, and man, we were hiking and golfing and skiing. I mean, it's nothing. I've got friends that are 80 who are
mm,
out there snowboarding and
yeah.
golfing and having fun. I mean, this whole number thing is silly now,
It
right? I
is
mean, we're
silly.
so healthy, so vibrant now into our 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. I don't know what we're sitting around doing. We need more of TK out there shaking these people up.
Well, too, it's the community as well. Like you said, you're surrounded by people who don't think that you can or that this is not the time to do that or that you've lived your life. You need to be surrounded by people and groups of women who know that you can because that's what they're doing. And you get inspired by what these wonderful people are doing in their lives and what they're accomplishing. So you have to surround yourself with that type of community, which we build with Sprout Your New Life. And but you're right, it's almost like you're going to have to ignore those voices because maybe. And I just put this out here. Maybe it's what you want to hear, because you haven't done anything before, and now it's your time. But your friends, I'm not doing it because yeah, that's what they say, and it's probably true. No, got to pull up those big girl panties and get going. That's right, get going.
A lot of times that, like you said, fear is one of the biggest challenges.
Yes, it is.
So it's a lot easier if you're already fearful to just
Yeah.
go, yeah, you guys are right. I'm just going to
Hmm.
sit here with you guys and do nothing and let my
Exactly.
bones, break and let my body atrophy and let myself get out of shape, right? Instead of get out there and walking and getting out there and be fired up. And
Mhm.
every time you find a purpose, whatever it is, and like you said about courage and passion and desire and following your dreams, every time you find that,
Mhm.
it's amazing how all of a sudden you've got new energy, you've got new inspiration, you're, motivated to do stuff. But it's just that
Yes.
little spark and someone who believes in you and you're on your way, right?
Yeah, you're on your way. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Well, TK, we've got so much here. We got you've been so gracious with your time. I know we had a little fun there with something, but we got that all fixed. But so
Yes.
you've got a weekly blog called Nourishing News.
Yes.
You're the author of Sip the Garden,
Hmm.
fun, easy drinks for a healthier family. So tell me about that. Where'd that come from, and what are we doing with that thing?
It I have to kind of I have to kind of chuckle when I think about the book, um, because when I was going through my training to be a holistic health and wellness coach, a nutrition coach, I knew that there was going to be some major project. And so I started thinking about, well, what is it that I can work on? What does the world need? Funny that I started working on the book, but there was no major project. It was just, you had to complete the task, the test, and start developing your program. So I had this book already laid out. But it was sort of an answer to a problem that we still see, and that is that we are consuming too much sugar, and it's not easy for people to say, okay, well, I'm not going to eat four cookies, I'm just going to eat one. Or, you can't stop there. It's just too hard to do. Lifestyle changes that require you to change your eating habits are just difficult unless you've got guidance with that. And so, um, because it's sugar's just wreaking havoc on our health, and we're consuming too much of this added sugar, it contributes to many chronic diseases. I decided to create Sip the Garden Fun Easy Drinks for a Healthier Family to address the issue of sugar consumption. So I created recipes for people to drink their way to better health by replacing soda and other sugary beverages, with these flavorful, easy to make drinks. So because it can be overwhelming to make multiple lifestyle changes at once, this one manageable lifestyle change will help improve overall health and well-being. So my main message with the book is, if you're drowning in sugar and need a life raft, first start with what you are holding in your drinking glass, what's in here. There are other ways to reduce sugar intake, but changing the way you drink is one way to make a positive change. Just need one way. Try that first, and then when you're successful, we'll move on to other steps, or other opportunities to help you get where you're going. But that was the reason. And another thing is, we know that we're not drinking enough water, but water can be pretty boring. So the drink recipes contain water, but they also contain delicious fruits and nuts and seeds and vegetables and other opportunities for you to be sipping on something that tastes delicious and is good for you, and then controlling the sugar at the same time. So that was my message, because I was really concerned about the kids at the time and how much sugar they're just guzzling. And so that's why it's for families as well. It's a
Well,
fun.
it's amazing how much your body will change and your
Mhm.
energy will change your digestive system, your blood pressure,
Mm-hmm.
everything will
Mm-hmm.
change
Mm-hmm.
when you start changing what you put in your body, and
Exactly.
then movement, like you're talking about on your seven lifestyle elements. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
diet and nutrition, diet, nutrition, movement, exercise are obviously the keys,
Mm-hmm.
right? Along with the
Right.
spirituality, the community, and the relationships and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But we tend to ignore the one that is the most obvious because it's the toughest, right? I mean, getting people to change their diet at 60 who's been eating the same way. My mom's 89 and she eats at McDonald's all the time. That's her go-to. Mom's going to get a number two no matter what. All right. We're going to
Okay.
go to McDonald's and she's going to get the number two.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you're 89, so I don't care, right? I
Yeah.
mean, at
Yeah.
this point, but I'm not going to try to change her
Mhm.
diet. But I love that you wrote that, and I it's just so important, and it is, it's just a habit. I get up every morning, I make this huge vegetable shake that most people can't even look at, let alone
Mhm.
drink.
Yeah.
And I've been drinking it for 40 years. I don't know. I just love it. So tell me
Mhm.
real quick about your about the Nourishing News blog. What's the deal with that?
With the blog, yes. Well, with the blog, those are inspirational clips. There's the written format, which is the actual blog, and then there's the videotape version, which is on the YouTube channel. So I have
Mhm.
the YouTube channel. But all of those relate in some way to the seven lifestyle components. Okay, in some way there. And also about mindset and all of those wonderful elements that we've been talking about today. So that's the essence is it goes deep, dives deep into some of those. And I've been putting the blog out. Gosh, I started uh, a little after I launched my business in 2015, but wasn't doing it consistently. I've been doing it consistently since January 2020. So gosh, there are tons of videos and tons of blogs on my website, blog posts, I should say. So all of them are
TK,
lifestyle.
did you ever think you were going to be a YouTube international superstar?
Maybe one day, huh? Maybe one day.
Well, I mean, think about it. When 10 years ago, did you think, oh, yeah, I'll be on
I
YouTube.
had
I'll have a YouTube channel.
never, right? Well, it's funny about this one woman I told you that got me started on Facebook. She was so incredible, and we had so much fun together. After we got after we got Facebook up, rather that was my main goal. She goes, "Oh, okay, now LinkedIn and Twitter." And I go, "Oh no, Facebook's." And she says, "No, it's not enough. We're gonna and your YouTube channel." I'm going, "Hold on, wait a minute." And she just sort of forced me into it. I'm playfully, but yeah.
I love it. I have a gal who has become a friend of mine who I met somewhere and I said, "Please come on my podcast. You're so awesome. You're such a light." She's 84
Oh,
and she does TikTok, she does blogging.
yeah.
Every day she puts out an inspirational, spiritual YouTube
Hmm.
message. She's got two books out, and she started all this in her 70s, and she's got 770,000
Wow.
followers on TikTok. I'm like,
Yeah.
you're a TikTok
Yes.
super. I don't even know what TikTok is. And she's
Yeah.
so funny. She just blasts out every day a
Every
spiritual
day.
message,
Yes.
um, or a little antidote or something. And it's like she's 84. People, you got to get with TK
Yes.
Mitchell because it's never too late. You got to get out there. You got to have some fun. You
Yes.
have to laugh. You have to
Yes.
live your dreams
Mhm.
and know that there's just tons of life out there still, right, kiddo? There's
Mhm.
tons of life out there.
Tons of life. Yeah, that was inspirational. Thanks for sharing that with me. But yeah, that she's an inspiration in herself by what she's doing with that. And there
Oh
are a
yeah.
lot of ladies who are doing their thing, in their 60s and 70s and 80s that are incredible. So,
I love them. Well, we've been so gracious with your time. I know we've kind of gone over a little bit, but so I do cheat. I always tell everybody about the first question, the what if you could question, but I never tell anybody I'm going to ask the second question.
okay.
So my second question is, before we sign off to everybody and we cover some of your stuff to clean up here, is if you had a message for people, whether it's a saying or just a thought you have or something that just means a lot
Mhm.
to T. Carey Mitchell that you want to leave our guests with, what would that one thought or one message be for us?
Well, the one thought, one message, which I'm going to carry into, because I call to action here, is it's never too late. Now is your time. That's my message. And I want our listeners to know that they can overcome current challenges, reinvent themselves, and evolve into the most dynamic, amazing individuals they were meant to be and have fun doing it. See, a transformational journey requires guidance and support. So I invite our listeners to visit my website, lifestyle120.com, to find out more about my Sprout Your New Life program and sign up for my complimentary blog and newsletter to get inspiration, wellness tips, recipes, and more. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on social media. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, well, active, I should say, active on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And if your company or organization is looking for a transformational speaker, please consider booking me for your next event. Now is your time.
I love that. I love that. So I'm just going to rehash some of that. So lifestyle120.com.
Yes.
Everybody listening needs to reach out to T. Carrie Mitchell. Go to lifestyle120.com. On there, you'll find her blog. You'll find links to her book, which is Sip the Garden Fun, Easy Drinks for a Healthier Family. You can get involved with her Sprout Your New Life program. You could hire her to speak. You could hire her to coach. You could hire her. She'll come to your house and make you a smoothie. So we've just had so much fun with T. Carrie Mitchell. You're just a jewel. You're amazing. I love what you're doing for all of us old folks because we're not old. I refuse. I'm 62 and I feel like I'm 12 years old.
Oh, you're a spring chicken. Yes.
Right? All right, everybody. Please go on to lifestyle120.com. Look up our good friend TK, T. Carrie Mitchell, and this has been wonderful, kiddo. I really appreciate
Thank
you
you.
coming on.
Thank you very much for having me. I enjoyed it.
All right, guys, that was another episode of the What If You Could podcast. And look for TK Mitchell on Lifestyle 120. And thanks for listening, guys. I appreciate it. See you soon. Thanks again for joining us on another episode of What If You Could podcast. Please subscribe, like, share, and give us any feedback. We'd love to hear it. And remember, if you can dream it, you can do it. See you next time.